Hey guys, in today's video we will be going over switch statements in C++. You can delete the code from the last video except the code on screen, or you can simply type the code on screen in if you need to. Now let's talk about switch statements. Switch statements are good alternatives to lengthy if statements primarily because they are much more readable. They are also usually much more efficient than lengthy if statements. Their generic syntax is Now to see them in action. Create an int-type variable in the main function called day with its value initialized to 1. Now start a switch statement with its expression being the day variable. Note that the value inside parentheses can be of an integral type. Types that can be represented by integers. These include int, bool, and char, among other integral types. Strings or other types of values, except for enumerations, which will be covered later, cannot be used for the value inside parentheses. Now to cover the case block. The case block compares the value inside parentheses to a constant, a value that doesn't change, like a number or character. This is a primary way switch statements are different than if statements. While if statements check Boolean expressions, switch statements use case blocks to compare an expression against constants. We can use a case block in our switch statement to check if day is 1. The generic syntax for a case block is case followed by constant followed by a colon. Using this knowledge, code the line case 1 colon. On the next line, use standard cout to output the days Monday followed by a new line. And yes, I know Sunday is the first day of the week. Monday is the first day of the week, just makes more sense conceptually. After that line, use the break keyword to break out of the switch statement. Break is a keyword that breaks out of the current switch statement or loop. We'll cover loops later on. If we don't break out of the switch statement, it will then proceed to go through the rest of the switch statement if there's more to it, which wastes time and can even lead to bugs. Now try running the code. Before we start a new case block, I would like to mention that you can use constant variables for the constant in a case block in a switch statement. Just ensure that the variables are constants, are of an integral type, and that the variable's value is figured out at compile time, not runtime. Use this knowledge, create a constant int type variable called Tuesday with its value initialized to 2. Make sure the variable declaration line is before the switch statement as well. Also change the day variable's value to 2. Now go back to the switch statement and add another case block where the constant is the Tuesday variable. Have the output message, if that succeeds this time, be the day is Tuesday. Don't forget the break line as well. Now try running the code again. Now to cover the last thing you need to know about switch statements for now, and that is the default block. Default runs if all the other case blocks in a switch statement fail and it does not compare the value inside parentheses to a constant like the case block does. You should make sure the default block is always last in a switch statement. Now use the default block in our switch statement and use stdcout to output the message it is a day other than Monday or Tuesday. Don't forget the break line as well, as it is good practice to include it. Also change the day variable's value to something other than 1 or 2. Now try running the code. That pretty much covers switch statements. To recap, you should use switch statements when you're comparing a variable against multiple constant values to improve efficiency and readability over if statements. Use if statements when you need to check inequalities, other types of Boolean expressions. Also, when declaring variables inside a switch statement block, make sure to use curly brackets after the colon to ensure the variable gets scoped properly. The variable scope is the portion of the program where that variable is recognized, accessible, and allowed to be used. We'll go more in depth on variable scope later on. I recommend messing around with switch statements a little more, and you can start that right now by including case blocks in the switch statement we used to handle the day being Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and have an appropriate output message for each. Also, change the output message in the default block to say it's the weekend, followed by a new line. Don't forget the break statement in each block of the switch statement as well. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Till next time, bye.